Hello everyone, my name is Crow, and this is episode 2 of All the Mods 9 to the Sky. So, we're here in our bottom of our Direwolf 9x9 house that we started off in, and there's been quite a few changes around here. So at the end of our last episode, we upgraded our meshes to the iron tier. We had our lava production and going, and still ticking away here. And we got a cobble generator thing as well. Oh boy. Actually, oh. And that, my friends, is how I got my first pieces of leather a little bit earlier. So let's kind of talk about what's happened in between episodes. We did a bunch of work on the base. We made a few different platforms so we can kind of start spreading out. I'm going to keep with the 9x9 dire theme for the short term, but once we have some real resource generation, then we'll do something a little bit more impressive, hopefully. To do that, I do want to use the RF Tools Builder, so I will have to have some kind of power solution. But so short term, we're gonna kind of keep on with the 9x9 stuff. So we did a bunch more sifting, a lot of sifting, and I upgraded my barrel through a compacting upgrade in there. The thing to note about the compacting upgrade is because I have no way of breaking these things down automatically, then I do have to. I blacklisted these things from being compressed automatically. The iron ore can't be uncompressed, and so you do have to make sure that this option is compact anything, which then makes the problem with the lapis, because the lapis, where is it? The lapis shard, and then it can just it's a problem it's just annoying to recompact it. But it's a basic one, so it can only do 2x2. At some point I will upgrade it again, and that way I can compact my redstone and lapis and flint and coal and all that. But for the short term, it's just doing the ores. Let's see, what else did we get on? Oh, I have a new pickaxe. This is a Silent Gear pickaxe. So it's obsidian with a iron handle, and I also, because I had some amethyst, I put an iron tip on it that gives it silk touch. I had to go a little bit into Silent Gear, not too far. I'll show you the quests that I did here. Silent Gear. I have a lot of quests that I completed. I haven't turned anything in. So I made a template board and my first tool. I haven't really done a whole lot with Silent Gear before. It looks like this is just XP. I haven't really done a whole lot with Silent Gear. Oh, Blaze Rod. Very nice. I've always kind of wanted to. It's kind of like the new Tinkers, I guess. So I know the new Tinkers. So it's nice though. The iron rods are easy to get. Blueprint paper is just a little bit of blue dye, and then obviously we have paper. I did say last time that you couldn't torque these, but apparently you can. It's just not great. It's not like wheat where like every tick grows. So there's my bamboo. I had mentioned before that I had some mycelium spores, and so I now have witch water. There's that quest. So now I can get netherrack blackstone and soul sand with that. What else? Okay, and coming along here, like I said, I had my cobble generator. just some more. The cobblestone generator Mark II is probably sufficient for my needs right now. I am still really, really hurting for iron, um, but we're going to try and solve that today. I don't know how far we'll get, but I will probably just go up to the Mark V eventually just to complete the quest, but it's definitely not like super high priority. And so at this point, I'm pretty much done with chapter 1. All that's left is to get into some RF, some power. And so that means we're going to kind of stop the getting started and we're going to kind of pivot. I think I've kind of hit where I need to be as far as setting goes, at least for the short term. Okay. All right, and my inventory is a absolute disaster. But I did get a bunch of leather. My first leather came, I think I mentioned, from a wandering trader llama, and then I just threw in the EMC or in the energy condenser and got a couple more. What else I got from the market was this guy here, the frost melon from Thermal. The frost melon is just like a regular melon, but it grows snow. Not fast, but it does grow snow. Once I have that snow, I can use it to, yes, I can make ice. So at this point, I have obviously an infinite water source and now I have infinite snowballs. So I can basically make ice whenever I want. And it'll probably grow back. It takes a little bit, but okay. So now to talk about this setup over here. So with the archwood, I started getting going down the road of Ars Nouveau. So Ars Nouveau is a magic mod, but it also has it's like two tech mods in a trench coat, looking like a magic mod. So there's under the hood, there's a lot of tech stuff that you can do with it. But it's all gated behind getting your first piece of archwood. So I had an archwood. The trees grow huge, so I only needed to plant a couple. And so we chopped down a couple trees and then started building things. Let's see here. Okay, Ars Nouveau. All right, so we'll kind of go through this together. Okay. Worn notebook. Notebook, I do not need it. I'll show you one in a second. So the first spellbook. So spellbook's super easy, just a bunch of iron. So I had to sift a bunch more for that. And then a book, like I said, I had leather from the wandering traders that came and visited me. And this is your spellbook. And your Ars Nouveau spellbooks are where you kind of where the bread and butter of the magic side of things take place. So what you can do is you can build your spells. So you build your spell, this is your spell on the bottom here, and then you build your spell by adding glyphs. And so each of these little individual things are glyphs. And so you can build a spell starts with a projectile. Every spell must start with a form. Projectile, self, and touch are the ones that you start with. And then you can build it out from there. So this one will just be a projectile and a break. And so this is going to be break. And you can have a spell that's projectile, break, 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 break. You can do, what is this, 10 glyphs in one spell. And it'll actually show you on the bottom, on this purple bar here, exactly how much mana it's going to cost. You click these out to and then you click create and it'll save it. And then what you can do is you can pull up your wheel here. This is your magic spell selector. And so you can just break, break, break. Super easy. You kind of you can get very complicated with these spells. In order to add to our library of glyphs and effects, we have to create the glyphs, and each glyph has a recipe, right? So like the AoE, we have to use scribe's table, give it a firework star, it'll spit out a glyph. Every glyph has some level of experience that's required. Most of them, I think the tier 2s are 5 each, 5 levels each. The tier 1s are 3 levels each, and then the tier 3s are probably 10 levels, yeah. So that's what the kind of the first thing that we're going to be doing is. I went in here and I pulled out some glyphs or some glyphed ingredients, and the scribes table. Well, actually, if you click on it with your spellbook, it will let you select which glyph you want to learn. And then it says, well, here's what you need. And then if you select, it will tell you what you need for it. So I need a fireworks star. And it will actually pull from nearby chests. This is, it's super helpful. It will pull out of chests in a pretty far away area, which is nice. However, you just do have to be careful for things like, where is it? Oh, amplify. It'll pull a diamond pickaxe, and it doesn't care what you have. It doesn't know the difference between two pickaxes. And so if you have like a chest over here with a couple well-enchanted pickaxes or anything like that, it will just pick one. So if you have things that might be useful to this thing, just don't keep it don't keep it nearby, because this will pull from inventories, even inventories you don't think may be applicable. I've had it pull a fishing rod out of a cyclic fisher before, and that was interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a couple glyphs. So these glyphs, you just right click on them to learn. The glyphs, it will learn it. So unlock the AoE, and now in my book I can now have an augment as an AoE. We saw that this was a tier 2 glyph, so you can learn it, but you can't cast it because my tier 1 spellbook is too low for it, but you can still learn it. This bar, your mana bar, will get bigger as you learn more glyphs. So these filters are really nice to learn, because then they increase your glyph limit and they're like all really, really cheap, right? Like you just need an item scroll and like a blaze pattern, item scroll, phantom membrane, all these little things. And so if you're running out of glyphs to learn, then those are really nice these filters are nice to kind of boost up your mana. So let's see, what else do we need? I was gonna do conjure terrain. Here we go. So sometimes the table can be weird and it tosses glyphs different places, so that's why I'm having my my pickaxe in my hand. Let's say I did the conjure terrain, conjure mage light. And conjure mage light is like easily one of my favorite glyphs. Conjure terrain, conjure mage, and alright. What else do I have? What was this one? Oh, this is crush. Crush. And you can actually sort by tier 1, 2, 3. Crush. I believe crush is normally a tier 1 glyph. But for now, in this pack, it's a tier 2. That is because in this pack they added an Ars Nouveau add-on called Ars Calum, which is like the skyblock Ars add-on. And so because of that, we can actually use Crush as a form of resource generation. So normally Crush is good for, crushing flowers into bonus dyes and stuff. But because of Ars Calum, we can turn gravel into sand and have a chance for some resources like lapis, diamond, and flint. And we can crush cobble into gravel and have a chance for gold, iron, and copper. And then we can crush sand into, no, where's sand? And we just crush sand into nothing, and then it gives you clay balls or a chance of clay balls or redstone dust. So in Ars Calum, that's kind of the progression. You make cobble, you crush it into gravel, you crush that into sand, and then you crush that sand into nothingness, and that's how you get your basic resources. Because the Ars add-on itself doesn't have all like the different ores, like silver or nickel or osmium or zinc or anything, it doesn't have support for those. So you can't get those things through the crush process. But I mean, iron and gold are the two most important resources that you can get from sifting, I feel. And so for the most part, the crush glyph does kind of take fulfill the largest need for that. We can also do Silk Touch, that's the extract glyph. And, oh, I amplify. I wonder if I have an extra. No, I do not. So I will have to get some more diamonds before I can do my amplify. And that will kind of do most of the heavy lifting as far as the glyphs go. Oh, and extract is also a second tier glyph. All right, so I wonder, can we do this? Can we upgrade it? So in order to upgrade to a second tier glyph, we have obsidian, diamonds, quartz, and blaze rods. So we have the blaze rods, we have the obsidian, we can get the diamonds. It's the quartz. Okay. Let's clear some stuff off here that we've talked about. Okay. So let's see here. Okay. So Ars Nouveau. So we kind of talked about the glyphs, and the glyphs are kind of the magic system that you're going to carry around with you. The other side of the mod is based upon like automation and like the little machines like this, the imbuement chamber. So the imbuement chamber, that's how you generate your initial resources, your R specific resources. So the imbuement chamber, easy craft, just gold and archwood planks to get your imbuement chamber. And then you pop in a piece of lapis or a amethyst, and then it starts turning it into source gem. And it does go fairly slow. Oh, I do not have amethyst here. But what you can do is you can do some really easy automations with this thing. Because the imbuement chamber itself doesn't have like an output slot, and so it's kind of a dumb machine. Actually, let me. It's kind of a dumb machine in the sense that um, it will pull, like if you just put anything in there, it'll just pull it out right away. It'll just, watch, I'll show you. See, all the lapis just comes filtering through. But if you block any inputs over here, like I am doing with my hopper, then it'll start cooking, crafting that source gem. And as soon as it turns into a source gem, it'll drop down in here. And then the next one will come down. So it's a really easy automation for making the, and I do have, like I said, amethyst or lapis can turn into these source gems. So source gems, those are the main crafting resource for Ars Nouveau. I have, there is stone. So stone is the other part of the equation here, because stone around a source gem can make source stone. And that's basically if it involves purple, it's going to involve some kind of source stone. If it involves a lot of gray, it's going to involve the archwood. Actually, we'll talk about essences real quick. So the essences is the essences are kind of the middle crafting ingredient for Ars Nouveau. It still involves the imbuement chamber, but what you have to do is you have to take that imbuement chamber and surround it with a recipe that will basically attune this imbuement chamber to creating an essence. If you have the wrong recipe, it won't work. I'll show you. So it won't let you put it in. And it'll actually, if you have a wrong recipe, it will also show you, it'll highlight the platforms that it's trying to use. Sometimes what you'll do is you'll have platforms that are conflicting with each other because the imbuement chamber looks one space in all directions and one space in all directions, one level up and one level down. And so you can actually get into a situation where if I put another imbuement chamber here, this would be fine because it's seeing these three, but this one would not because it can't see these two over here. So you just have to be aware. We use the source gems, and then just like our regular imbuement chamber over here, it will slowly but surely cook this into an earth essence. And Ars Nouveau is so well designed that it's showing exactly what it's going to make and exactly how much time is left on it. What the really nice thing about ours is that it will show you, you can speed this up by applying source if you need. And source is the in-world energy that you're going to get from creating, from doing things in the mod. Right, so let's get moving here. I'm going to need some wheat. I'm going to get a source berry. I will need, where's my hoe? I do have a dirty. Oh. Oh, whoops. Just do a little bit of twerking. And what I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to make a source link, the agronomic source link to be exact. This is the, there we go. So the agronomic source link, this will generate source as things grow nearby. Now, the nice thing about this is that it used to, I don't know if it's still this, maybe they fixed that, but they used to this used to generate source from things that grow near it, even if it can't actually grow. Um, for example, like if this has subject on, I should be able to break it. So like this frost melon can't actually grow because it is there's no place to there's no spot for it to actually grow a melon. But every time it's trying every time it gets a random growth tick speed, it should still generate source. I can also get source growing from this week. And so every time this grows or a random growth tick happens, it will generate source. Now the real question is, will this generate source? Ah, it does. So torquing does generate source. Oh, yeah, see, you saw that, you saw it just shoot some. Yeah, see, there we go. So we can add that. Because of the torque, we can help a little bit in the source generation. Now these each have little buffers inside them, but we will need a place to store our source. And so for that, we will need a source jar with some glass. Just spit it out from the source jar into here automatically. And this, you know, the agronomic source link, it's not a powerhouse of a source generator, but it is passive. So if you throw it on like a create farm or some kind of other farm, then it will kind of just like passively generate source. So that's kind of what we want. We want it to just passively generate. And what I'll do is I will make some kind of actual farm, a little bit, you know, like more like an actual farm instead of just like a plot, like one seed and one melon over here. Here's that earth essence, and we can, you know, repurpose these platforms for use in other recipes. This is a source berry. Source berries are, because they're magical fruits, then they generate a little bit more source when they grow, but they do hurt you walking through them, kind of like blueberries. They also give you a mana regeneration buff. It is short-lived, but it is, I mean, it's better than nothing. And so it can help you out a little bit in that regard. And, oh, yeah, see, I already finished all my lapis. Working my way through my amethyst now. Alright, and then the next part of Ars Nouveau is going to be the enchanting apparatus. I'll need some gold, a diamond. This is the actual machine, or rather another actual machine for Ars Nouveau. I will get some more pedestals. Source gems. Sure. And then these can actually be transformed into the platforms if you so choose. Platforms are nice because they can go vertically on surfaces, and the mod itself doesn't care. So enchanting apparatus. What can we do with the enchanting apparatus? So the biggest thing that we can do is we can create the armor. That'll be nice. And then upgrade that armor. We can create different tools. We can upgrade our source relays. That's how we're going to move around source from jar to jar or jar to machine. And we can upgrade those or create different ones. We can do thread, that's upgrades for the armor. We can actually create actual enchanting. Like this is the recipe, so we would need, what is that, eight platforms to create a silk touch. But it's consistent, right? You don't have to worry about gambling on the enchanting table. But what we need is, let's see here, we need a mage bloom seed. This is how we're going to upgrade the 4 gems and a seed, any kind of seed. I already had it. Oh, and you do need to have an arcane core underneath the block. Or at least you're supposed to. You used to be able to be sneaky about it, so maybe we'll see. You used to be able to you can still do it. Yeah, so if you insert mechanically instead of just with your hand, it doesn't check for the block. Now you still can't pull it out, so it's stuck in there. So for this time I'll have to just break it to get it out until I have enough iron to make because you can pull it out with the hopper as well. So, but now I have a mage bloom seed. And this is just another resource that others can give us. And this is going to allow us to create some magic armor. Problem with the Ars machines is that they take up a whole block. So even though it looks like you can, I guess you can here, but like this takes up the whole block. So even though it looks like you can click around it, you can't because the hitbox is too big. But there's a sorcerer's ramp. The Ars armor has 4 different levels or tiers, and so this is like the the cheapest one, or rather the lowest armor one. You have a, this is the gold one, you have an iron one, and you have a diamond one as well. And they all, yeah, so this is the sorcerer's, yeah, this is the sorcerer's gear. Then there's the arcanist gear, that's the iron tier. And then the battle mages, and that's the heavy duty one. I personally, especially in a skyblock, I like to have the sorcerer's ones, because you see where it says tier 1 empty 2. Those are the different upgrades that you can slot in there. I know I look all fancy. But the level that you can the level of upgrades that you can and benefits that you can get from those upgrades is dependent upon the empty slots. And so you'll see that like the body of the sorcerers has an empty 2, so you can put a tier 2 upgrade in it. The arcanist has an empty 1, and then so does the battle mages. So you basically sacrifice utility for defense. This has the most utility, this has the most defense, and then the arcanist is kind of a happy medium. So now that I actually have armor, this also gives me mana regen and max mana, which is handy for when I actually start casting spells.